Hello, this is Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. How may I help you today?
Hi, can I get a small pepperoni pizza with a Coke? And I'm sure you guys already have my billing information since I've ordered here multiple times.
Yes we do. Do you want anything else with that, or will that be all?
No, that'll be it, and thank you so much.
Alrighty, your order will be delivered in a few minutes. And thank you for ordering from Freddy's, a magical place where kids and grown-ups alike and fantasy and fun come to life. Hope to see you again.
Oh, yeah, that's sweet. Really celebrate. So Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. You are going to see me holding a microphone. The audio from the microphone wouldn't export from the computer, so you're gonna hear the mic from my phone. FYI. So, hello, I am a Sociology 101 student with dual credit, and you guys call me Bunny, but I'm doing this video essay on FNAF, my take on a sociological perspective. And all of this will be focused on the main character, William Afton. William Afton's family consists of 3 children and an absent mom. His oldest being Michael Afton. His second oldest, I'm assuming, would be his daughter Elizabeth. And his youngest, as everyone theorizes I agree with, being his young son, Evan. And we don't know where the mom is. We don't know if she's divorced William, if she's dead, but she's absent. And that's what I'm going to stick with right now, is that she's an absent mother. It is very easy to understand that FNAF is a very complicated thing, but for right now, I want to go over the sociological perspective and the ones I will be using. My first sociological perspective I will be using is control theory, the inner-outer controls of somebody in society. Social control theory. Social control theory argues that the individuals will engage in criminal or deviant behaviors if they are not controlled. There are many things that tie to this, such as social bonds. The theory argues that there are 4 types of social bonds: attachment, commitment, involvement, belief. The social controls are central controls, decentralized controls, and mixed control. Centralized controls is based on administrative policies or government rules and laws. Decentralized controls, social controls, are enforced through demand, supply, and market competition. And mixed control takes place through the establishment of social norms, value, and traditions. On that note, I will not be using too much of social controls, but more of the social bond structure. Alongside that, control theory even has inner and outer controls. Inner control is internalized morality, consist of religious beliefs and ideas of right and wrong. Outer controls consist of people, family, friends, police officers, etc., and basically ones that influence us most not to deviate. The stronger our bonds are with society, the more effective our inner controls are, such as attachments, commitment, and involvement. Best example is a girl decides to cheat on her, biology test. She has a choice to cheat and choice not to cheat. She chooses to cheat because that's her outer control, even though her inner control says not to cheat. So, first up, some background. Again, I am first year dual credit. I am not majoring in this at all, and I don't know too much, okay? So I do suggest take it easy on me when it comes to this. Alright, so control theory with William Afton. I believe with William Afton, control theory is really present, especially given the fact that he had the choice to kill kids. He had the choice to kill the first kid being Charlotte Emily, who is his co-worker's daughter. And he had the choice to kill her, but he also had the choice not to kill her, and he killed her. What I believe caused William Afton to start killing is not because he just wanted to. I believe it's because of jealousy. I believe that he was jealous of Henry Emily for making much more higher, products, being his animatronics. and to take out his jealousy, he killed Henry Emily's daughter, Charlotte. Honestly, that's what I feel. And control theory takes a lot in this. The reason why I say control theory takes a lot of reasoning in this part is just because of the fact that he had the choice. He really did. He could have actually just not done anything and let his jealousy boil up on its own. But he didn't. He let his outer controls take over instead of his inner controls. His inner controls, I am more than sure, told him, do not kill this girl. But his outer controls, being built up with rage and jealousy, ended up taking over and actually killing a girl. And Security Puppet goes out of their way to crawl next to Charlotte and getting out of the pizzeria. And Charlotte's soul gets tied to Security Puppet, who later on becomes Puppet. And when, William Afton discovered this, I'm sure he was more than surprised and wanted to stop it there. But in FNAF 4, his son dies. Yeah. And in FNAF's sister location, his daughter dies. He only has 3 kids, and he's lost 2. Carrying on, he later on discovers that his kids' souls are tied to these animatronics as well, making it, plausible that he wants to experiment. So instead of letting his inner controls take over and letting him, just leave the dead and, leave it alone, he doesn't.
When you see a rose, it tends to be red, and that symbolizes love, hope, and heart. But when you see a black rose, it represents death, mournfulness, and regret, like William.
Unless you're goth or whatever, emo, never mind, but you get the point.
Like William, it's hard for people to move on. It's hard for people to think or come to peace with things that have happened. It's a norm for many to place flowers around a gravestone so that the person who is represented by it can have a sense of presence, warmth, or care for themselves after they've passed. It's regular for us to all just walk away from the grave after we've done our mourning. But for others, they want to go back.
First of all, FNAF. We all know FNAF, anyone who clicks on this video, but my teacher does not know FNAF too much. Here's this clip. So FNAF. But as we know, William, his family. Okay, so I'm using this to help whatever I can correlate to whatever I can. Alright, so Willie Afton, also known as Purple Guy, is connected to all these people. He is every one of these. Because in FNAF 2...
Okay, no, I said FNAF 2 when that is actually FNAF 3 Purple Guy. I was somewhere else tomorrow. Yes, the other day I recorded that, so my bad.
He is this person. And then in FNAF 2 as well, in another minigame called
Foxy Go Go Go.
And then in FNAF's Pizza Simulator, he is also Orange Guy. But at the same time, when he gets Springtrapped, he is also Springtrapped. And he is Scraptrap from FNAF 6 and FNAF 3. These are all him, just in different variants. And this is also him too. Now, one thing you should understand is, first up, he is correlated to his co-worker, Henry Emily, who is also correlated to the puppet, who is also correlated to Security Puppet. These are the 2 same fucking things, alright? They're just different designs. Okay? Now first up, we're going to correlate to the crying children. The crying children are the kids he killed, and in FNAF 2, we get to see this in a minigame as well. But his actual first killing was on Charlotte, who was the puppet, but was first in this form, and then soon became this form. Later on, he ends up killing the next set of kids over here, the first being Chica, and then the rest of the 3. But he also ends up having his own son, who I didn't correlate to this, because I couldn't. And then there is another child named Cassidy who is in this. There are 2 souls of the children in Golden Freddy. Now, as we continue, we also have to correlate back to sister location. He is also connected to these guys only because of the fact that he is connected to Baby. Why? Because that is his daughter. His daughter got put into that one because it scooped her. Now, the other thing about this is that many people theorize, and I agree with this theory, is that Ballora is the grievance or his way of coping with his wife, who is absent. And then these two are built to lure kids. Why? Because Foxy can mimic voices of other people, along with Freddy. Well, actually, Funtime Freddy, who also has a chamber inside of him to keep the dead children or keep the kids he steals. But at the same time, these four end up becoming Ennard, who is also correlated because he ends up getting put into Michael Afton. Michael Afton is his oldest son, and the whole thing is Scooper. You get the point. Now, the next part we have to correlate is the fact that these two worked in this franchise and made these guys. But another thing you should understand is these two also made these guys. So in order for him to be Springtrap, William, wanted to spring Bonnie. This Fredbear is also this one. It just decayed over time, and so did this suit. At first, he made these little, mechanisms to where you can wear the suits of these as a person, but make them animatronics again. That's how he got Springtrap. I'll talk about that in a later part of this video. Now, another thing you should also understand is that he built the Funtime animatronics. I am wrong. He made the toy animatronics. Anywho, it's obvious that these correlate. Now, you might be wondering, who are these fudging animatronics? Can't see too many cuss words in this. You might be wondering, who are these people? Well, here's where this also correlates. His youngest son, whoever wrote there was, is Evan. It is very well known that in FNAF 4 we play as Evan. And these are his nightmares. Because he can see these four animatronics in a show and at the restaurant. But in reality, the restaurant at the time he always goes to is Fredbear's Family Diner. These are his friends, but in a stuffed animal form. So, in his dreams, he ends up seeing these guys like this. Why? You can see this little teddy bear. His name's Fredbear. That's his closest thing for a friend, but at the same time, Fredbear talks to him in the games. And it also is well known that he puts a microphone in the teddy bear to talk to his own son, because he needs to keep track of all his kids. And at the same time, he has already lost his daughter to Baby. Baby is one of the first ones killed, but in reality, Puppet, Baby, and then Michael. Goes in that order.
So as I'm editing this more, I should have clarified on this. That's not the technical order. It was the order of his kid's death, including Charlie. My bad.
These are all of his nightmares, and they're all called the Nightmare Animatronics. Now, the one thing that is really hard for people to realize is with these two, they have teeth at their stomach. None of the other ones have teeth at their stomach, except these two. This is called Nightmare Fredbear, and this one's just called Nightmare. The reason why is because his own friend, and when he looks at these guys, in the FNAF game,
We see William Afton helping a coworker get into the suit, and as crying child, or Evan, sees this, that's how he interprets his dreams of Fredbear and Nightmare, as somebody being put in a suit against their own will.
I do want to make a point here. I will get things wrong. Why? Because we're all human. No one's perfect. But I am a die-hard FNAF fan, alright? Look at the plushies. Look at the merch. I even got socks. In all seriousness, I am a very big FNAF fan. And when it comes to FNAF, I know good math. I have most of the books. So I know a lot of some of the lore. And I watch a lot of FNAF stuff. So, yeah. I will say this, most of my theories for this point on is only going to be from FNAF 1 to FNAF Ultimate Custom Night. I am not going to go farther than that because this video will be way too long. And in order for me to do a good enough analogy and get most of this correct in my part, we're only going to do FNAF 1 to FNAF Ultimate Custom Night. But, getting to the point of sociology. My main point is also with the death and dying part. Death and dying, the context behind that, is it's all based on beliefs, taboo, and sometimes religion. We all know William Afton doesn't die. We know this because he has died 3 times and still isn't dead. All of this goes back to William, the purple guy, Springtrap, orange guy, that weird dude. It all goes back to him. He is the reason why this happened. And this is the reason why I'm doing my sociological perspective on this, is because it's on him. He can't cope with death. He can't cope with the loss of his children. He can't cope with the mother being gone. He can't cope with the fact that he is not as good as he used to be. William, the purple guy, is the reason why all of this happened and why I am so happy FNAF exists. Because none of this makes sense, and that's the fun of it. Nobody knows why he started killing, except for the fact that the motive could be jealousy. It could be revenge. It could be anything. But William just can't cope. All of this leads back to him. And when we step over here and we look at these guys, you might be wondering, why are they here? Why haven't I talked about them yet? Well, we're getting to that now. Ennard is the amalgamation of these 4 animatronics. And they create this. And then they scoop out Michael's insides and go to his skin. And then soon enough, he looks like his father. Purple!
You won't die. You won't die. You won't die.
Why? Because after a body decays, it loses oxygen. And what happens to a body when it loses oxygen? It goes purple. I can't show that example right now or else I will die. Okay, and I'm not trying to be part of this. But soon enough, Ennard can't keep the disguise for long because the body's decaying and he gets spat out. And they go into the sewers. What happens in the sewers? BAM! They separate. Baby is no longer part of this. These 3 are the only ones in this. She ends up trying to find her way to try to put her back together, and her new name is Scrap Baby, because she did whatever scrap she could find and turned herself into that. And then this is what they look like after trying to find pieces to make themselves look better again. Now, who is this little guy, you might be wondering? Well, his name is Lefty. And he was created by Henry to trap his own daughter's animatronic to bring her back to the same pizzeria. And Michael is also there, as well as Scrap Chat. They are all in Pizza Simulator. They're all there. And the whole point is why they're there. He is trying to help them leave. He is trying to help them escape. Because if you put an animatronic at a certain amount of degrees of heat, they can melt and they will lose whatever soul was in them.
Pause if you'd like to read, but this is the blueprint from FNAF Pizza Simulator talking about the effects of when you heat an animatronic that has a soul in it. The possession will be gone after it reaches a certain temperature.
So he ends up trapping all of them in this place. And this is where this beautiful clip comes from.
Connection terminated. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Elizabeth, if you still even remember that name. But I'm afraid you've been misinformed. You are not here to receive a gift, nor have you been called here by the individual you assume, although you have indeed been called. You have all been called here, into a labyrinth of sounds and smells, misdirection and misfortune. A labyrinth with no exit, a maze with no prize. You don't even realize that you are trapped. Your lust for blood has driven you in endless circles, chasing the cries of children in some unseen chamber, always seeming so near, yet somehow out of reach. But you will never find them. None of you will. This is where your story ends. And to you, my brave volunteer, who somehow found this job listing not intended for you. Although there was a way out planned for you, I have a feeling that's not what you want. I have a feeling that you are right where you want to be. I am remaining as well. I am nearby. This place will not be remembered, and the memory of everything that started this can finally begin to fade away, as the agony of every tragedy should. And to you monsters trapped in the corridors, be still, and give up your spirits. They don't belong to you. For most of you, I believe there is peace, and perhaps more, waiting for you after the smoke clears. Although for one of you, the darkest pit of hell has opened to swallow you whole, so don't keep the devil waiting, friend. My daughter, if you can hear me, I knew you would return as well. It's in your nature to protect the innocent. I'm sorry that on that day, the day you were shut out and left to die, no one was there to lift you up into their arms, the way you lifted others into yours. And then, what became of you? I should have known you wouldn't be content to disappear. Not my daughter. I couldn't save you then, so let me save you now. It's time to rest, for you, and for those you have carried in your arms. This ends, for all of us, in communication.
Now back to this! This fucker didn't die! He's still alive! He didn't die!
They used to fear me. I was famous. I used to be a Tumblr sexy man.
But we're not going that far, we're just gonna stop here, alright? That's what we're gonna do, alright? But anywho, William is the cause of all of this. And he's gonna be the cause of all this because he started this by killing his co-worker's daughter and letting her go into an animatronic. We don't know about that part. But yeah! And he continues his killings. Charlotte, his daughter, was the first technical death. Well, murder. Elizabeth was the first technical death by his animatronic. Second was Evan. Another death to his own animatronic. Third was Chica. We know this because of Ultimate Custom Night with this quote.
I was the first. I have seen everything.
We know that. And then next came these guys. But then, another thing. Cassidy. She is the one he should not have killed. With his inner controls, it's all about morals. You know, let the dead be dead. And to not become God. But with William, he pursues the murders. He grows attachments. But he pursues the murder. And with the attachments to these murders, he cares less for norms with fewer attachments. And since his first murder being Charlotte and never getting caught, that just drives him to want to play God. And when his kids are dead, he realizes that when they die, their souls get put into the animatronics. He wants to be God and give these kids souls to animatronics, his animatronics. Because they become different. They become more lifelike. Because there's kid souls in the animatronics. So, yeah. And one thing is in FNAF 3, this is where we really find out about who William really is. See, I have a weird thing with this. There's no sign that William is Christian. There's no sign that he belongs to a specific religion. Yet, when he dies, he doesn't die. He gets springtrapped and doesn't die. He gets burned and doesn't die. He gets burned again and doesn't die. I see his belief as his one line, his famous quote. You see how that quote just doesn't really sit right? I always come back. He is playing God. He is acting as his own God by never dying. He's gonna keep going. He's not gonna want to die. And that's where death and dying comes in. People see death and dying as a way of reincarnation, or there's a taboo with that. Going to heaven, becoming a wandering soul wandering the earth, or even becoming a guardian angel, or in my culture, Navajo culture, when you die, you become a holy person. That's a whole nother thing, but yeah. With William, he just doesn't want to die. He wants to keep tormenting these children. He wants to keep tormenting his children too. Now, after I bring up all this, the one thing you might be wondering is, what about the oldest son, Michael? One thing that's very, very well known are the connections. So William is connected to many things. He's connected to his family, he's connected to the kids' murders, he's connected to his other son, Michael Acton. He's connected to his co-worker, he's connected to his co-worker's daughter, the animatronics, and many more. He's connected to everything in this. And when I made a little diagram right here to help me figure this out a little easier, I made a really cool connection for myself to look at this. Is William's connected to 5 main things: family, murdered kids, co-worker, animatronics, and Michael. But the family is also connected to Michael because, you know, it's his family. But when he's connected to the animatronics, oh boy, does that string out. Because the animatronics are connected to these main people: Baby, Golden Freddy, Puppet, and Chica. Reason why? Baby holds William's daughter. Golden Freddy holds William's youngest son. Puppet holds Henry's daughter. Chica holds his first ever murder, that he actually stuffs a kid into an animatronic. Now, I bring this up for a lot of reasons, because Michael ties back to all of these as well. Because it is really well known that, well, for people who watch game theory, it's very well known that it is theorized Michael's trying to go back and free these children and undo the things his father did. But many people wonder, if we're freeing the kids and we're doing good, why are they jump scaring us in the game? That's because we look like Michael. That's because we look like William. Why? I'll give it to this part. Okay, now you're caught up to speed on that. So it's clear he wants to free these kids, but since he looks like his dad, these animatronics, these souls, just can't differentiate William from Michael. And another thing is, the toy animatronics all have a facial recognition scanner that when they scan a human being, they can tell whether they're a threat or not based on what's in their database. And when William was put in the database and they saw Michael, they just matched the closest resemblance to it. So yeah, we're gonna get jump scared because we look like William. And it's a lot, alright? But William does his best to avoid his former animatronics. Michael, however, does his best to free these children. FNAF 1, he successfully can do it. FNAF 2, he can get rid of some of them. FNAF 3, yeah, we don't know about FNAF 3 yet. FNAF 4, sister location, he's getting there. FNAF Pizza Simulator? Yeah, Michael succeeds with the help of Henry. Why? So it's clear Michael's doing his best to help these children. He's doing his best to help his siblings as well. But in Ultimate Custom Night, he can't free them all because there's one spirit left. The other spirit in Golden Freddy named Cassidy, the vengeful spirit. Now here's where I would like to make a sociological tie. William and Cassidy, the vengeful spirit, have somewhat of the same belief when it comes to the sociological perspective of death and dying. Like I mentioned before, William doesn't want to die. He's going to keep coming back. But Cassidy, the vengeful spirit, won't die. She's not going to die. They're not going to die. They're going to keep going. Why? To get vengeful revenge on William, who killed her. It seems like a lot. And honestly, this would be cool if it was also a psychological perspective, but I'm not studying psychology. I'm studying sociology. Bum bum bum. Heimler. Heimler's history is English. Dun dun dun. Now, another thing that's really cool that I would like to also mention is that there's other ways to see William with the death and dying sociological perspective. Like I mentioned, there's religion. We don't know William's religion, but a lot of religious people believe that when you die, you go to heaven. When you die, you join Jesus. When you die, you join all these other different things. But that's only if you are pure. That is only if you're not a sinner most of the time. We all know William is a sinner. He's killed kids. It's obvious William probably isn't religious. And if he is probably part of a specific religious group that could become a cult. But that's not my perspective here. Now, another one is taboos. And another one is all just based on belief. Like, some people believe when they die, they'll reincarnate into something else, like a flower, another human, an animal, an inanimate object. It can happen. And another one is the perspective of being a spirit that just follows people, or a wandering spirit that just wanders the earth, because yeah, they can. Or a guardian angel. Some people actually speculate that when they pass away, they'll become a guardian angel to someone they really love or have a nice tie to. That's nice. I'm not gonna be mad about that. It's understandable. Another thing is, when it comes to my culture, Navajo culture, it is believed that we have holy people watching over us. Not gods, holy people. And when we pass on, we join them. There's a lot of ways that death and dying can go into this, but with William, there is no real way, so I would like to make my own. Is never dying. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people don't realize this, but you might be afraid of dying, and you might say, well, no, I'm not afraid, but you are. You can be afraid, because think about it. You're having the best day of your life, and you go to sleep. You might not fucking wake up tomorrow. You ever thought about that? Or you just think of the worst outcomes ever? It's kind of being afraid of dying. And with William, I like to say that he has his own way called never dying. Because he's not gonna die. He knows he won't die. As long as he possesses enough will strength to keep living. And honestly, that's the only weird place I can put him with death and dying, is that he doesn't believe in all these other things. He only believes in his own way. To play God and never die. To be immortal. Now, is immortality real? I don't know. There's no real case of immortality. There's some where people live past 100 years old or older, and that's cool. It is, but look at William. He musty. But he's not dead. His soul lives on. His brains live on. Why? If I had an hour-long video, I could go fully into that, but I only got 30 minutes, so I'm just gonna stick to what I can. There's a thing called remnant. Remnant is a way that a soul can live on through an inanimate object just because of will, revenge, or hopelessness. And that's what William has. He has remnant, a lot of it. And he's gonna be living until he says so. Because guess what? With death and dying, he doesn't believe in that for himself. He believes in it for others, but not himself. But at the same time, he doesn't fully believe in it for others because he's seen that some kids can't fully die. They can live on in these animatronics just because he puts them there. He stuffs kids in animatronics to hide their bodies, yes, but they become living things, and he knows this. That's why when he got spring-locked, he knew he was coming back. He knew he wasn't gonna die, because he's never dying. He doesn't have a belief of an afterlife. He doesn't have a belief of reincarnation. He doesn't have a belief of becoming something in heaven or whatever. He has his own belief of that he will stay alive. And none of his actions will catch up to him as long as he just lives long enough. If he lives long enough to outlive all of his other consequences, what's the point of dying? You know, that's what he believes. As long as he lives, he doesn't have to face consequence. As long as he's not dead, he can keep going. Because he got away with the first murder, what's to say he's not going to get away with the rest of the murders? That's what I believe with him on death and dying. And inner and outer control theory? Oh boy, is there more! His inner controls have told him multiple times that he could get caught. Because that's what we know, is that if you commit a murder, you might have a good chance of getting caught. But he didn't get caught on his first one. He didn't get caught on his next two ones. He was suspected, but wasn't caught. He kept going, and that's what his outer control told him to, was, you haven't been caught yet, keep going. His inner control on wanting to die? Maybe you should put yourself to rest. His outer control, we keep going. His inner controls know what's the morals, knows what the norms are. But his outer controls continue to just not want to listen. Why? Cause it's fucking William Afton, man. He makes up his own rules. And that's another thing with the sociological perspective, is there's no real place to tie William in actual perspectives, in actual sociology. He does his own things. And he's damn proud of it. This also ties in really well with deviancy and control theory, because it's known that the norm is to not be a deviant. You're supposed to follow the rules. Well, William Afton doesn't follow the rules all the time. He's a deviant. He will always deviant. And that's also weird to tie him into later on, because I didn't realize this at the beginning when I was doing that whole part of that recording that I missed it. But he's a deviant. He deviants from the norms, from what you should respect, into everything morality, basically. So yeah, he ties really well with control theory too, in the deviant part. I mean, good on him, you know? Outliving so many things. The sad part is, remember how I mentioned Cassidy earlier? Yeah, she's an ultimate custom knight. And it is very well theorized by that Pat guy that Ultimate Custom Night isn't just any regular game. Since it takes place right after Pizza Simulator, where, you know, William dies, that isn't just a restaurant. That isn't a game. We're in William's mind. Ultimate Custom Night is William's conscience. It's his consequence after finally dying. Because remember how I said he tries his best to outrun all of his consequences? He couldn't outrun this one. Because guess what? It caught up to him through Cassidy. Ultimate Custom Night is a dream. It's his dream. It's his afterlife. He didn't go to heaven. He didn't go to hell. He didn't become any of the other things I mentioned earlier. He's living with his consequence because of a child he should not have killed. She is making sure, they are making sure, he is making sure, we don't know the gender, they are making sure William faces the consequence. And even when Old Man Consequence, yeah, there's an Old Man Consequence in this game, tells them to just go to rest and let him deal with his demons, they don't care. Because if you beat Ultimate Custom Night on 2020 mode, the hardest mode ever, Golden Freddy, where Cassidy is in that animatronic, is still twitching. They're not letting William die. They're not letting William get off the hook. They're letting William live with the consequence of this hell. Yeah. Death and dying comes a lot in this sociological term because although William doesn't have a real afterlife for himself, he created one because of his action. He created his own afterlife. A never-ending cycle of every animatronic ever made by him or had any inclusion of him is just gonna forever haunt him in a never-ending loop of jump scares, of annoying laughs, of annoying voices, of so many things just because he killed the one. Let that sink in. William created his own afterlife. He had his own belief in death and dying. But maybe this time he should have thought a little harder. Maybe his inner control should have had more power over his outer. Because if his inner control was still strong, none of this would have happened. His outer control would have never let him down his path had he listened to his inner control. Just like the example I gave earlier. There's a risk. But that doesn't mean that you should take the risk. It means think about the consequence.
Many don't realize the significance of going to somewhere that gives you comfort, that gives you happiness and hope. A lot of people visit their childhood and want to be where they feel happy. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza was a place for a lot of kids where they brought joy and entertainment to life, and it brought many a sense of clarity, a sense of safeness, but it also caused a lot of problems.
If you made it this far, you're most likely my teacher, my friends, or someone who randomly clicked on the video and got interested. But thank you for watching. I am so sorry if a lot of this footage just seems out of order or doesn't seem that good. I was on a short time limit while also given a lot of homework to do and had my own personal problems and family situations come up. So again, thank you so much, and the credits are all to the artworks or possible songs I used and or other things I never was able to credit before. But again, thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna let these credits roll through, but one more thing is right after these credits are my bloopers of footage I used or footage I did not use. So FYI, if you see footage from any of the things that you don't see in this video, it was most definitely from a video I was supposed to use but didn't end up using. So yeah, thank you again for watching. Just sure you can see me. Okay. Test number 2. Make sure you can see me. Oh my god, I almost fell. Okay, so Five Nights at Freddy has a lot of things that go into it, obviously. This is a very creaky I noticed. I looked down. Andy, you're supposed to shut up. Start complete. Got the shot. Andy, I'm recording. That you cannot see. It's way too high. Right now, my blooper I'm gonna have 17. Okay. Shit, there's an open soda. Mom said she was gonna drink the rest of it. Hey, you know strawberry gravy. Thanks for reminding me. Okay. Hello. I had to retake this because I found out the original fully edited part of this I deleted. Yippee. Destroying the animatronic. Whatever it is, I'll put it in the cat. I'll voice over it. It is very well known that we play as Evan. Zoom in right here. You can zoom out now. You can see this little teddy bear. Okay. Hey! I was trying to say dun dun dun. You could have said it. Oh, my bad.
Dun, dun,
Turn yourself in. Da 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 ha. Wait, sorry. Bye. Stop the video. And it's so slow. But I am a die-whore fan. Die-whore. I knocked something over. But I even have a lot of the books. Let me say that again. I was put on a limit, even though Mr. Smith is a fibber and said I could do an hour. So I was going to include Security Breach. I was going to include FNAF AR. I was going to include FNAF Help Wanted. And I was going to include more of the book series. But since I was fibbed to, my theory with why William Afton decided to start killing is because of revenge. I believe that out of vengeance... Retake on that. The reason why I believe... Retake again. And in FNAF Security Breach... Sorry. Well, one thing I like to think about is that, I don't know, maybe he wanted to see what he could take care of with this. Maybe he wanted to see where everything goes and wanted to see what would happen.
Oops. Hi.
Hi.
You're looking pretty whimsy right now. Oh god. My voice is gonna be stuck in this phone for I don't know how long.